everywhere on the internet right now, you're seeing everything about 50-50. Should I go 50-50 with my spouse? Like, nah, my man got to get 7 jobs and a side hustle. I ain't working. Like, bro, like, I don't know when, where, how, why, like this 50-50 conversation took over the internet, but I am tired of it. Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. Y'all, we are literally a few episodes away from 100 episodes. On
Big hundo.
Y'all believe that, man? 100 straight. Rain, sleet, snow,
hail, whatever. Cancel podcast studios.
Whatever.
We are
good, whatever. We outside, right? So y'all. So this one we wanted to like make it really practical. Last week, we was messing with y'all a little bit, and because we know y'all don't want to stay broke, right? We just want to kind of light a fire under y'all because we know none of our listeners, none of our viewers want to stay broke. But we couldn't not follow that episode up, right, with some simple money hacks of 2023 that absolutely anybody can do. You can pick the ones that are most relevant for you. We want to make sure that you execute on this to make this next half of the year better than amazing, right? So, Carl, let's get into it, man. I was actually really excited about this one because they're so practical and they're things that you kind of might have thought about, but maybe forgot about, right?
Yep.
So,
and the thing I love about today's episode, we're living out a majority of them, right? We're living out, so we're not talking to you all through happenstance or maybe. We're literally talking to you all from experience on each of these top money hacks for 2023. So what I want you to do is get your notepad out because note takers are money makers. If this is the episode, you're gonna want to stop driving. You're gonna want to make sure you're sitting down somewhere because you want to take these notes and put these notes and ideas into immediate action. So.
Exactly. Let's kick it off. But everywhere on the internet right now, you're seeing everything about 50-50. Should I go 50-50 with my spouse? Like, nah, my man got to get 7 jobs and a side hustle. I ain't working. Like, bro, like, I don't know when, where, how, why, like this 50-50 conversation took over the internet, but I am tired of it, right? I am absolutely tired of it. But, we'd be remiss if we didn't give our perspective on the good side. Mm-hmm. Of 50-50, right? And so I've been married for a little while now, since 2015. Is she listening?
Don't mess it up, player.
Don't mess it up, right? And I would say our first year, it was kind of like the trial and error year, right? It was like, all right, well, let's like have like this money, this joint, but you can still do your thing over here. I'll still do my thing over here. And to be honest with y'all, it actually was more of a hassle to try to separate stuff. Like it actually became more of a hassle because then it was like, oh, well, that's the thing that you were supposed to do. And so then you out of town and like, now I don't want to spend my money because it was just so annoying. So we were just like, yo, we just gonna put it all in the pot for the betterment of the outcome that we're trying to achieve. And so one of the great things about being married or having a significant other, and this isn't an episode about prenups and all that kind of stuff, right? This is just very straightforward. Assuming that you have a spouse that you're on good terms with, and you believe that you'll be with them for the foreseeable future, right? How having that can be a money hack, right? And so one of the easiest money hacks is taking one of the incomes, right? Whether it's the boss woman who's killing it or the man who's out here getting the bag, doesn't really matter, right? Taking one of the incomes and basing your lifestyle expenses off of that income, right? So let's say that one spouse makes $110,000 a year. That means that everything, right? The rent, the mortgage, the car payments, the food, the groceries, etc., all have to be factored in off that. And then the other salary, however much it is, 50, 60, 70, 80, all of that gets allocated towards investing and wealth building, right? That is a super simple and straightforward money hack. The problem what most people do, though, is they look, we got combined incomes. Now we can get bigger and better cars, bigger and better house, bigger and better vacations, and then you look up with bigger and better burdens, right?
Because, that's good.
Because it's like, yo, like, matter of fact, I tweeted this the other day. You don't never hear about nobody filing for bankruptcy who make $50,000 a year. You know who you hear about filing for bankruptcy? someone who actually made a lot of money, but messed it up in a very big way. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like having more money doesn't solve your problems. If anything, it amplifies and exposes them even worse. It's an amplifier, right? I think, Carter, you said it the other day about like throwing gasoline on it, right? So it's like, y'all, like if you think that you get into a situation with two incomes and if y'all don't have good money management and don't have a plan, it's actually could end up a lot worse, right? Than if you just had one income, because now you got more money to mess up, right? Which could be an even more catastrophic situation.
I love it, man. I love it because, like, again, if you got, if you were making $100,000 and you were living in your 1-bedroom apartment, whatever, living however you want to live like a king, and you met a girl who was also making $100,000, living in her 1-bedroom as a queen, there's no sense of you all coming together and getting an 8-bedroom house, right? Just come together, get a 2-bedroom. And now y'all have one household with double the income, right? That is a quick and easy hack. And now you can say, well, hey, instead of jumping our expenses, you like your 1-bedroom, I like my 1-bedroom, we get a 2-bedroom, somebody has an office, right? We love living in the same room. Now you take all this extra money that you no longer have to pay and use that to invest, right? Nobody had to ask for a raise. Nobody had to ask for just more clients and more customers. Y'all literally doubled your income overnight by making that step together and saying, hey, one income, we're going to base our lifestyle off one income and base our investment off another. So now you're probably able to invest $5,000-$6,000 a month,
which is crazy, right?
Which is crazy. You're investing someone's salary every single year. And then, like, if you do that, how much faster are you all going to be towards financial freedom, right?
Shout out to Financial Freedom Fast Lane. Y'all know we every Fridays, right?
You know what I'm saying?
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That is the goal. Like, here's the thing. Somewhere along the way, somebody lied to y'all. Someone said, you got to invest 10% of your income. And most people ain't even doing that, sadly enough, right? Mm-hmm. And because you're investing 10%, the average American maybe makes $50,000 a year. Now you're investing about $5,000 a year. If you doubled your income, even if both of y'all only made 50, right? But you doubled your savings rate, you don't double the amount of money that you're saving and investing, you quadruple it, right? Because if y'all are making 50, right, you're only able to put away $5,000 a year, and now you're making 100, and you can put away $20,000 a year. You are quadrupling the amount of money that you're able to invest because you're able to double your savings rate. Now, here's the crazy part. The crazy part about it is, in that example, y'all still get to improve your lifestyle a little bit, right? Because I only said you double yours. I didn't say you invest 100%, right, of the money. I'm just trying to give you some leeway. Even if you just doubled your savings rate, now you're investing 4 times the money, right, by combining your incomes. Now, what happens if you really get freaky with it? You know what I'm saying? And you say you're allocating that entire additional income. Right. You can literally cut your retirement financial independence timeline down, right, by 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all want to work until y'all 65 though.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, and here's another hack on top of that same marriage thing, y'all. We're not promoting anybody get married before they ready to. But there's some hacks in here. Here's another bonus hack. If you all are living together and it's working out and you're contemplating getting married, before you do so, you, the man, you go buy a home and put a 3.5 FHA loan, 3.5% first time home buyer loan, and you get a crib. Then a couple months later, however long it takes to get another down payment, you have your girl go do the same thing. She goes and gets a home, FHA 3.5% down. And then y'all get married, y'all live in one of those houses, and then you either Airbnb or long-term rental the one out. But now y'all get two places for 3.5% down each, where most people, if y'all did that after y'all married, y'all get 3.5% one time, and then you gotta put 20% down the next time. This is a hack for y'all to, before y'all get married, already start accumulating assets in a way that makes sense.
Big facts. Yeah. So that's a big hack for those who are ready, and want to make that move. And yes, it is going to require some discipline. Like you can't just because it is very easy to be like, oh, let's run it up now. We got more money for a down payment. We can get a bigger crib to impress our friends. But here's something that like shifted my paradigm a long time ago. On the first of the month, nobody from Instagram, nobody from my text thread, nobody from anywhere is sending me any money. So why on God's green earth would I try to create a lifestyle to impress people that don't even really care at the end of the day? Mm-hmm. Right? You got to do what's best for you and your peace of mind. Right. And this is one of the ways that you can do that and get there a lot faster. All right. So for our single folks, we ain't gonna leave y'all out, right? We're not, like you said, it's not just for people. These hacks aren't just for people who are married or desire to be married or have a significant other.
If it was, I would not be here right now. If this was only a married episode, I would not be here. So for all of my single folks who can do whatever they want when they want, all of my single folks who can live wherever they want, up and leave whatever they want without having to get somebody else's opinion or what you should do, this hack is for you. So
it makes like marriage. It's like marriage is a prison.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, like, for my single folk, like the married folk, you probably can't do this one right here. I mean, maybe you can, but maybe you can't. But for my
I would say married, yes. Single, married with kids, probably not.
Yeah, married with kids, probably not.
What to think about? Yeah,
dating, probably, but you gotta have an understanding. But like this, I'll be fully transparent. This is one of the reasons that I had to end a previous relationship, because the person I was with couldn't move the way I wanted to move because they were stuck in a place, right? And it was either be stuck or do a long distance, and I don't do long distance. So I was living in Los Angeles, as you all might have known, and LA is one of the top 5 most expensive places to live. And we now currently live in the world where, due to COVID, a lot of us are able to work remotely. Like, a lot of jobs say, well, why are we paying for these large offices if our employees were as productive, if not more productive, when they were home? Let's shut some of these offices down to cut costs, and let's let our employees work from wherever they want to. So a lot of us now have the freedom to work as a digital nomad, or to work just strictly remotely. So with that being said, I went from living in Los Angeles, was one of the top 5 most expensive places in the world. And when my lease was up, I was thinking like, where in the United States do I want to live? Like, where do I want to live? And I just so happened to ask the question, well, why does it have to be in the United States? As long as I have a computer and I'm in a proper time zone, I can honestly live wherever I want. So I decided to pack my bags and move to Medellin, Colombia, which, in case you all don't know, it is about 10 times cheaper than Los Angeles. Like, it is 4,500 Colombian pesos to $1, which means that let's just say it costs 5 times less for me to live in Colombia than in LA. I essentially just 5x my income without asking for a raise, without getting more clients, without doubling my prices. I just 5x my income overnight by changing my location. And I get that everybody can't move out the country, but if you go from LA to somewhere like Texas, right? Or you go from Miami to somewhere like Phoenix, right? Like you are finding cheaper place with cheaper cost of living. And some places in the United States, you can literally double your income by moving somewhere different.
And then you get really lucky, right? Because let's say you got the job in LA or New York or a city where the income had to be substantiated based upon the location, right? Now you're getting LA money, right? And you're moving to a city where it's a lot cheaper, right? So that's like a real hack, because you're now able to work remote. So it's like you might have gotten that or secured that job in a major city, but now you are getting because of where you decided to move to, you're really able to save a lot of money, y'all. And these are just simple things that you can do, right? Like, and sometimes like people don't want to feel like they're being inconvenienced, or like, oh, I don't want to pick up and move. But it's like, you got to ask yourself, what do you value more, right? Do you value being able to get to your financial goals faster, right? Or being stubborn and stuck in your ways and saying, well, I've always lived here, or I really enjoy this city, or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not saying you should move to a city you don't enjoy.
It doesn't make you happy, right?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if there is another place, right? And that's the crazy thing. Most of us just haven't explored. Like, my sister has a property in Portugal, right? And She absolutely loves it. The cost of living there is great. Most of us just, it hasn't even been an option. And so a lot of us just think that like, oh, I have to work in the city that, you know, I was from or whatever the case may be. There's so much world out there to see, y'all. Right. And don't get caught up on thinking that you can explore the world. And on top of that, probably save yourself a decent amount of money in the process so that you can get to your financial goals faster.
Absolutely. Like literally making American money and living somewhere like Colombia or Mexico, that is a true life hack. Like making US money in another country is a life hack. Like for instance, George, me and you just came back from Miami a couple of weeks ago. Bro, I spent more in Miami in a weekend that I would have spent in a month living in Colombia. Because it's not just rent, you guys look at it, it's going out, it's drinks, it's taxes, right? If you move from LA to somewhere like Austin, Texas, you just save 8% by not having no more state income taxes, right? So we just have to think about where, like ask yourself the idea, if you're young and you have the flexibility and you're single or you're dating and that person has the flexibility too, think of some places where you probably live. It's probably a vibe, probably might like it more than where you're staying. And guess how much more money you'll be making by moving to that place.
And not to mention, y'all, they make airplanes, right? So you can still travel back, right, to those cities. You know what, Carter? Let's plan to do an episode on like 5 things everybody should know if they're considering becoming like a digital nomad or something like that. Right? Because I feel like people would want to do it. Maybe they're just nervous about what it looks like. They're like, man, like living out of the country, but what about your friends? What about your family? Like what about business? Like people probably just have unanswered questions on like what it looks like to do it. And so I think we could definitely do a separate episode, just like expounding upon what that looks like to demystify it a little bit, right? So people can like be encouraged to know that that's a decision they can make. But I hope even off this episode and off this bullet point, you guys start to get curious and start to do some preliminary research on, well, what would it look like if I decided to live here and work from here, right? Because if I were you, especially if I was single and didn't have to answer to nobody, I would definitely consider trying out this digital nomad lifestyle.
Hey, aren't you tired of buying courses in those emotional states when you want to get a result, but then you actually don't do anything with the course? Do you know on average, the completion rate for a course is about 2%? But here's the thing, it's not entirely your fault. The problem is you buy the course, but you don't have access to the source who actually created it.
See, that's why we're doing something different. With the Melanin Millionaire Club, you're not just gonna get access to courses, you'll get access to the people who created it so you can get your questions answered. Because it's not just about learning, it's about taking that information so you can start earning. So the Melanin Millionaire Club is gonna give you access to courses, but not just that, it's an entire university of information. We have financial flicks, we have hundreds of previous recordings, but more than that, y'all, we have an amazing community of people just like you who are trying to become a first generation millionaire. So like GA said, like you can survive without community, but you can't thrive without community. So this is the place you need to be, right?
100%, because here's the thing. If it was just about information, we'd all be billionaires with 6-packs. So that's why every single Monday, we're going to set the tone for your week with Melanin Millionaire Mondays, where our entire community is going to meet up. The energy is going to be high. We're going to set the intention for what we're going to execute on so we can move the needle forward, and Carter and I and the rest of our team can keep you accountable.
So that's enough information. You see the rest in the club. All you got to do, click the link below, sign up, and start your journey to your first millionaire year. Let's get it, man.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another money.
No, this one's all you. This was all you.
Okay, cool. So this is another really easy money hack. I like to call it the finding money exercise. And so one easy way to ensure that you can get to your financial goals faster, and it's a little hack, is when you go through your online banking or you go through your expenses, we're all going to find a few expenses, transactions, subscriptions that we can either reduce or eliminate, right? And it can happen whether it's an expense that goes completely away or one that just goes down, right? Once you identify what those are, you're going to get a quantifiable dollar amount. So let's just give a real world example. Let's say that you had 4 different streaming services and you realize like, well, shoot, I only had that one because I was watching Power, but Power ain't coming back on for another year, so I can get rid of that one. Hulu, that was for that one series my homegirl told me about, but I ain't watched Hulu in about 8 months, right? You just kind of go through your transactions and you're like, yo, I do not need this right now. And let's just say you go through that and you can quantify about an extra $150 to $200 a month that you can free up. Now, there's two things that can happen in that scenario. Number one is you got another $150 that you can go trick off, right? You're like, oh, look, hey, bro, I'm buying an extra bottle this week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Option number one.
150 will get you that. You better hope.
Well, matter of fact, bro, you just put on a firm. I ain't got to use my.
Yeah. There you go. To balance out because it's 103 payments of 150. No,
man. If y'all know what we talking about, make sure y'all go back and watch the last episode. But that's option number one. Option number two is you can immediately, right, make a transfer, automated transfer to a savings account or investment account, right? So now you are recapturing that money and you literally can't mess it up because the money was being spent before and now it's still being spent, right? But it's being allocated for an investment goal, right? Or a savings goal. And that's an easy, quick hack that everybody can do. So let's make sure that if you take nothing else away from this episode, that you identify 1 to 3 expenses that you can either eliminate or reduce, right? And immediately thereafter, set up an automated transfer to your savings account or your investment account.
And full transparency, y'all, I just hired George at his firm because I know. I was like, bro, look, I know alone y'all can find at least $5,000 a month that I don't know where like that I'm not using. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because again, when you do this personally, it's one thing. When you have a business, like a multi-6-figure business or a multi-7-figure business, you got all of these hundreds of transactions coming at your account every single month. So if you could find $100 there, $200, like I know his firm is gonna help you find $5,000 a month. At least that money that I'm spending right now, that I probably just don't need to be spending. So I'm actively pursuing that exercise right now. And I'll keep y'all posted on how it's going to go because, these subscriptions be adding up, man. They be adding
up. And it don't feel like you're in the moment. It's like $5 here, $7 there, $10 there. And then you look up, it's like, yo, what is going on? Yeah. And it's the same thing for like when people always make it seem like they can't get ahead by investing little bits of money, right? Well, how is it that those little transactions add up to several hundreds of dollars, in some cases, thousands of dollars? You don't think the same thing can happen on the investment side, right? It's the same thing. So stop undermining the value of small, consistent commitments, right? That's $25 here, $10 there. It will add up. Well, that's why I don't use it anymore, but I thought Acorns was a really cool app because every time you spent money, it would round up your change and then ultimately it would invest it for you, right? And I did it for like 12 months or something like that. I think I had like $1,800, and that's like money that if I was still spending cash would have been like, change that have been laying around, and I was able to like save an additional just $1,800 on accident, right? So those little transactions, those little expenses add up, and it can also work in your favor if you get on the right side of it. Like we always talk about, get on the right side
of how things work. It's my favorite cause get on the right side of how things work. And shout out to Acorns, man, because like I still use Acorns, and I plan whatever trip I take a trip every December. I'm usually not in the United States every December. And my December trip is completely funded by Acorns. Whatever I'll spend throughout the year and the roundups, stuff like that, that money in that account, that money I'm using for my December trip. So it's another hack, just finding like extra money lying around, y'all, can be a hack as well. Now, G, I know you wanted to hit on the rewards, which we can, but I had a thought about another one. I think it's just extremely, extremely beneficial that I think if people start doing it now, like when money is okay, when money gets great, it's going to change everything for them. And that is like, I truly believe in percentage-based allocation, whether it's percentage-based saving or percentage-based investing or percentage-based whatever, because if you invest or save off percentages, when your money increases, so does your investments, right? So like I now invest like about 30% of my income. And when I was making, let's say, $50,000 a year, that was about $15,000 a year I was investing, making $100,000 a year. That's down $30,000 a year I'm investing, right? And like, here's the kicker. The more money you start to make, the less money you need for day-to-day stuff. Mm-hmm. So you actually can start to increase the percentage and start making more money. So I didn't start out at 30%. When I was making 50,000, I probably was only at 5%, 10% and went up. But like, as I now make more money, I need less of it on day to day. So if you percentage base your saving, And as you make more money, you literally like don't even realize it, but you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of money you save or invest every single month by investing off of percentages based off of a number. If you say I'm investing $1,000 a month, that's cool. But when you double your income, you still invest $1,000 a month. It's like, bro, I'm happy that you're doing that, but you could be doing a lot more and not even realize it. So that's
that's a really good one. I think it's one that everybody should practice, because again, it might feel a little more challenging in the early stages, right? When maybe your income is, in its growth phase, but it will just radically transform the rate at which you're able to achieve your goals. If you base it off percentages, right? So if you go from 50 to 100, 100 to 150, 150 to 200, to Carter's point, it's like you're not gonna like those budgets where it's like 50, 30, 20, like whatever. Like it sounds good, but like when you're making $500,000 a year, you don't need to be spending 50% of your income on expenses, right? That's a recipe for spending unnecessary money just because the budget says, well, technically it's okay, right? You should adjust relative to your income, right? And I think that'll be a really, really good hack for you guys. And just, I would say, review it at least once a year, right? At least once a year. And if you're making more money, great. Let's up that percentage. Let's not get stagnant. Let's not get comfortable. Even if you already are saving and investing, that's great. But we want to do everything faster, right? Not faster like on some get rich quick scheme, right? But I feel like getting rich slow is a scheme too, right? Like someone told you that like you had to take forever, and that's not true. Like it doesn't have to take that long. You'll hear me say it now, and you probably have already heard me say it before, but financial independence has nothing to do with age and has everything to do with assets. If it takes $1 million for you to retire, guess what? If you get $1 million invested by 40, do you have to wait till 65 just because that's what the rules say? No, you're done, right? And so when you can wrap your head around that and realize that every time you allocate money towards investing, you are buying back portions of your life. Like that was the paradigm shift for me. If it cost me, in this example, $60,000 to live, right? And I own $60,000 worth of Apple stock, I could take a year off if I wanted to, right? I bought back over 2,000 hours of my life because the average person works about 2,000 hours a year. And for every dollar you have invested, you're literally buying back time. When you can make that paradigm shift, I'm telling you guys, it's a game changer. It's a game. That's how I look at all my stock shares. It's like, okay, bet based upon my hourly rate, that's 17 hours of my life, right? I got 17 hours of my life just tucked away, 20 hours of my life, 15 hours of my life. When you start looking at it that way versus like, investing is a smart adult thing to do. No, and I'm not, versus looking at it like, literally I'm buying back time from my life. I'm telling y'all, like y'all will look at investing completely different than you do right now.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I just, I just checked. I did my financial review today because I have to give you and your team some stuff, right? And I was like, one of my portfolios made my salary, my former salary, right? And I'm like, I just bought back, like literally, I made a year's worth of like what I used to make when I was working. My money made that for me. So then it just becomes addictive. Then it's like, well, wait a second. If that can do that, let me just do some more. So again, y'all, just some hacks. And again, bring it back full circle. When you make more money, don't just think that you need to still spend 50% of your money on personal expenses. If you double your money, check your percentages every quarter, every year, or whatever, and you can allocate some things to where you're like, all right, I might as well just save more. Again, give your money a destination before it goes running wild, because if we don't tell it where to go, we're going to end up losing it. So that's just another hack. I thought that would be good for everybody.
No, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. So I got another homework assignment. We like to give you our homework assignments. All right. Turning expenses into assets. This is a really good one, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of where your money ends up going is, your lifestyle, right? You got to cover your mortgage, you got to cover your rent, you got to cover your car payment, right? So if you can turn some of those expenses, some of those liabilities into assets, that is going to decrease the amount of expenses that you have, which inherently will increase the amount of money that you can allocate towards building wealth. So some popular ones that a lot of you probably have heard of, are to like Turo and Airbnb. So for example, I started using Turo back in 2016. I moved it to a high rise uptown Charlotte, and everything for me was walking distance. So I had my barber shop was walking distance, my office was walking distance. I really didn't need to drive for anything. And I had this really nice 4 Series BMW coupe. And I was like, man, it's nice, but I'm not using it. And so I was like, well, shoot, I'm just gonna put it on tour. This is before all the courses.
The gurus, yeah.
You know
I know.
Yeah, so I put it on there. I was like, yo, like it's not only is it covering the payment, like I'm also making a little profit off this thing. And this is like cool because it's like I like the car. I just wasn't driving it that much. And if I really needed it, I could just take it off and then, use it for the day or whatever. And so that was a really good hack because now that I think between gas and car payment, I mean, you're looking at least $700, probably more than that, $800 a month, right? $800-900 a month in terms of cost of maintenance and ownership. That now was being absorbed, and I got a little profit off of it. So I was able to take all that money, right, after expenses, and then allocate the difference towards investing. And so like that was a really, really big hack for me, and just being able to turn a liability into an asset.
Yes, some other ways you can do that is neighbor.com is neighbor.com. Write this down, y'all. It's a way that if you have, because some of y'all, we all know Airbnb, right? But having someone live in one of your extra rooms, it might not be willing to take that sacrifice. But neighbor.com is a website that allows your neighbors in your neighborhood to store things in your apartment that they can't fit in their home, right? So if somebody has extra bikes or just a whole bunch of boxes and you have a garage that you're not using, you have a spare room in your basement, they will literally pay you a storage fee, just like a storage unit, but they're up the street from you. And they're like, hey, like, I want to store my things here. Y'all sign a contract. Neighbor.com has the handles their insurance. And now you're literally able to make money off spaces in your home that you're not using.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all.
I actually never heard of that. That's a good one.
Yeah. I just heard of it a couple months ago. That's a really good one on ways you can turn your assets to liabilities, guys. And here's another hack about turning your liabilities into assets. Whether you know it or not, that liability is not only an asset, it's actually a functioning business, right? That liability is not an asset, it's actually a functioning business. So in GA's example, his Turo car, is now, it went from costing him $800 a month to, let's say he was making $800 a month. Let's say he's breaking even, right? He's making money, but he's spending money. The expenses related to his vehicle are now tax deductions for him because his vehicle is now a business. So now he gets to write off or get a tax deduction for an expense that he was paying for personally that he couldn't write off. But now that he's turned his liability into a business, it's all those expenses related to the asset is now a business expense. And even if he loses money, let's say with all the maintenance or whatever, he made $5,000 for the year, but he lost $8,000, right? So he has $3,000 loss that his business cultivated. Again, that loss is money he's already spending. That $3,000 loss can now get subtracted from his W-2 income at work to lower his W-2 income and therefore lower his tax liability. So not only can you turn your liabilities into assets or turn your liabilities into a business, the expenses related to that liability now become tax deductible expenses, and now you're able to make more money and pay less taxes in the same time.
I love it. I feel like we got to have like a what do you call it? Like a custom ad lib. Like I don't know, like the sauce. Well, I'm gonna think of. I'm good with the name.
Sauce separately.
Separately. You know what I'm saying? But that's good. That's really, really good, guys. Because the thing is, the reason why we wanted to do this episode is because we know sometimes, for our W-2 earners or our new entrepreneurs, there's so much, so many things you see on the internet and you just don't know where to start. You're like, oh, that seems too advanced. That's a little bit over my head. Like, you just don't know where to start. These are things that virtually anybody can do today, right? And we wanted to make sure we gave y'all some very practical tips and strategies that can help you level up your money in 2023 without you feeling like, man, I gotta have some special play or some special expertise to be able to execute. You don't have to have any of that to do anything that we share today, right? And that's what I love about this particular episode, because there's literally, like, quite literally, no.
Teach you how to find money. Like we're not telling you to go ask for money. Like we teach you the ways to find more money without having to earn more money. So I love this one. This one was good, man. This one was good.
All right, guys. So if you like this one, you know what to do. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with 1, 2, or 3 friends that you think would find value in this episode. Because here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you another quick bonus hack, right? One of the easiest ways to level up is to get your circle to level up with you, because it is a lot harder to do this stuff on your own. But if you got all y'all friends out in a group chat and like, yo, you know, I just ran the Turo play, you know what I'm saying, I'm getting an extra $300 a month. Like, now y'all are galvanizing each other and motivating each other, right? So when you share this content with other people, it's not just to help us grow, it's to help make sure that your network, people that you're connected to, are also learning and growing along with you, so that it's easier. So that when y'all all decide that y'all not gonna go out and waste money this weekend, right? Y'all all on the same page because y'all all are learning together. All right. So make sure you share this with 3 friends. And if you're a loyal Apple Podcast or Spotify listener, please make sure you leave us a review, subscribe, and share it as well. Guys, we thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. We are still on this official countdown to episode 100, and we thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace.